Hello, and welcome to the SolidCAM Introduction Series training videos. The topic for this discussion is iMachining 3D. This conversation is a continuation of the previous video, iMachining 2D, and we're going to look at a couple different part files in examples, both parts that are prismatic in nature and parts that are more three-dimensional in nature. First and foremost, understand that iMachining toolpaths are very cognizant of the stock. If I double click on the stock from our setup section, and if I were to show this, we are starting with a billet piece of material. iMachining cares about the stock. It's always going to be machining from the stock to the target model to determine where to machine. And that will keep track of itself as you change from setup to setup, either on a 3-axis machining center or on a 3+2 type of scenario in a 5-axis machine environment. It will track the stock in the current state at all times, so you must set up your stock and target correctly. To deploy an iMachining 3D toolpath, we're going to go to our SolidCAM 3D tab and select iMachining. I already have a facing operation that addresses the zero level of my part, so we're facing the top of the part off. And there are two modes that you can run an iMachining 3D toolpath in, and that is 3D General or 3D Prismatic. This particular part has flat floors and straight walls, so it is a prismatic type of part. It's a traditional style pocketing type of part. The target is automatically selected. Let's go in and pick a tool. In this case, I'm going to start with this 1/2-inch end mill. I could go through and change any of the iMachining parameters as far as aggressive levels, chip thicknesses, and things like that. I'm going to go ahead and just hit calculate. And what I'm going to see is a toolpath that addresses the part in its entirety. It's machining both the outside stock from the stock to the part, as well as everything on the inside of the part as well. By double-clicking on the toolpath, if I go back to the Geometry tab, I can restrict the area where I want the tool to be machining in. So I can define my own working areas. So I can define this by picking the boundary that I want to contain the toolpath within, so just by selecting that edge. I'll collect that into my toolpath form, and then I can change the behavior of what happens to the tool as it encounters that boundary. In this case, I want the tool to allow it to go to the center of that boundary. And I'll recalculate. Now the toolpath will be limited to machining just in the inside areas of the pocket itself. This is a one-and-done type of toolpath. I pretty much just said, here's the part, here's the material, go get it, and that is the result of that toolpath. Let's remove this one, and let's build another one. When I pick my tools, I'm going to select a slightly larger tool than we did on the previous toolpath. In this case, let's say a 3/4-inch end mill. When I select the first tool, the secondary tool selection allows you to pick a secondary tool. So I can then drop down to a smaller sized end mill. So I can go from a 3/4-inch to, let's say, a 1/4-inch or a 1/2-inch, whatever you want to pick here. In this case, we'll go to a 1/4. So we're taking a pretty significant jump from a 3/4 to a 1/2-inch end mill. And I'll hit save and calculate. This is an example of roughing and rest roughing with that same tool. On the Geometry tab, I'm going to define, let me just go in, let's pick the right one. I'm going to limit this tool on the secondary one as well to that previous boundary that we had built. Just make sure that's the one I want. It is. And we will calculate. So what you saw is you have independent containment control versus, for each operation, depending on what you're needing. So with the rest machining operation is going to come in, use the iMachining mentality and work that material out, maintaining that tool's engagement angle in the stock, never exceeding it, as well as maintaining the chip thickness throughout the cut to allow us to get the part off the machine that much quicker. Let's take a look at how iMachining works on a 3D toolpath. I'm going to open up a three-dimensional part, something that has a 3D freeform uniform shape. Inside of iMachining 3D toolpaths, the only difference in the parameters is, again, the technology is 3D general now, but on the technology tab, it allows you to do what's called a step up parameter. Because iMachining 3D is going to take a very aggressive Z-step in the material. So if we watch this first toolpath run, we can see that very aggressive Z-step working the bulk of that material out of there and getting the material out of the part as quickly as possible. What this leaves you generally with are large stair steps that your toolpaths will run into. My secondary iMachining toolpath has the step up parameter activated. In this case, it's going to take big vertical Z steps, but it's going to clean up those steps to a step height no greater than what you specify. The step up can be calculated based on a constant or based on a scallop type condition. So if you're using bullnose tools or something, it can account for the scallop height on the part. And depending on the topology of the nature of the part that you're machining will determine what's going to be best for your particular example. When I activate this toolpath and bring it into simulation and run this simulation, what we're going to see is that big aggressive Z step down, getting the material out, but instead of leaving big stair steps, it's going to back that tool up the faces of those surfaces, leaving a stair step no greater than what I specified. This is important because I want a close to net shape part to put my semi-finish and finish paths down on. So this is, again, a one and done type of toolpath. It's roughing and rest roughing all with one operation. The same type of things can be deployed. I can use multiple tools, and it will keep track of the stock in the current state on the subsequent toolpaths. And that carries, that carries over from setup to setup as well. And again, the end result is a part that has a very uniform step up across to apply my finished paths directly to. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing you in future videos.